How's it going, everyone? This is Justin from Apex Automotive Magazine, and today I'm reviewing a 2017 Ford Focus RS. Now, if I seem really excited, I am really excited. This has been a hard car to get a hold of. I've been trying to review one of these for like the past year. It's been damn near impossible. As soon as they hit dealership lots, they're already allocated for it. There's been a lot of media attention around these cars, a lot of hype around these cars, and people want them. They're highly in demand. So I want to give a big shout out to Steve Cater at Steve Ponte Ford Lincoln for hooking me up with this bad boy today. If you're interested in an RS, you definitely got to talk to Steve. I'm sitting in the only one that they have currently, and he's actually selling it for MSRP, which is really unheard of, to be quite frank. I've looked online, and most dealers are asking, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 above MSRP, and they're getting it no problem. So if you want one of these, you definitely want to talk to Steve. So let's start out with the exterior design. I think this car looks fantastic. I'd say it's slightly more aggressive than a GTI, and maybe a little more subdued than an STI with its big spoiler and everything like that. But I think it definitely looks apart. It definitely looks more aggressive than the base Focus, with a much more angular, kind of angry front fascia. It has really aggressive side skirts. And the rear diffuser looks fantastic. I love the dual exhaust that comes out the back. So from a styling perspective, I think this thing, it's really been a home run for Ford. I think it's subdued enough that an older gentleman such as myself at 33 years old wouldn't feel silly driving it around. But at the same time, it definitely, I think, appeals to the younger generation because it has plenty of flair. It definitely looks aggressive. I love the wheels on this. Black on black looks fantastic. When you come into the interior, I think that design language translates well into the interior. It's definitely a little bit, maybe even more aggressive on the interior. Everything's much more angular, very driver focused. And of course, certain elements of this car are going to carry over from the base Focus because that's how it works. This car is based off of a base model Focus, but all the materials on the inside feel of very good quality. Let's start with the dash. I think the dash looks really nice. The gauge cluster is really easy to read, and the dials are nicely styled, and of course, the speedometer goes up to 180 miles an hour because this car is capable of like 165 miles an hour. So this is a very fast car. The steering wheel is a thick, very nicely bolstered, flat bottom steering wheel that kind of goes with the trend of all the sports cars now, which I really like. It looks really nice in here with its blue stitching. Beautiful steering wheel. All the buttons and controls are right where you would like them. The center infotainment system is nicely designed and easy to reach. All the buttons are easy to reach from the center console. And this is Ford's third generation of the Sync system, and I think the Sync system is probably one of the best infotainment systems out there. I like it a lot better than Chevy Q's. It's very responsive, and the interface is really easy to get used to. I don't own a Ford. I don't own a Ford product at all, and I'm able to get in this car and navigate through the screen without any problem at all. It's not confusing. The switchgear feels really nice. It's very snickety-snick. It feels very short throw. I don't think I would put a short throw shifter in this car. And Ford's done a nice job at balancing out shift effort to shift length. I think it's perfectly proportioned. I wouldn't change anything about the shifter. The clutch take-up is really nice on this car, actually. Maybe a little abrupt towards the top. I mean, most hydraulic clutches are like that now. They give you a little bite up on the top. And I think part of that has to do with its all-wheel drive system. There's a lot of mass, a lot of inertia that it needs to get this thing moving. Going into the back seat, there's plenty of room for real human beings, which is what this car is all about. If you have a family or you just want to have a usable back seat, but you want a performance car, this is the car that you should be looking at. Because the Ford Mustang, I used to own one, is a great car, but it's really cramped back there. If you're over 5'5", it could be really irritating to sit in the back one of those, and you'd always have to pull the driver's seat up for someone to sit back there. It's not like that in this car. There's plenty of room in the back, and of course, if you fold the seats down, you have all the practicality of a hatchback, which is fantastic, yet you get all this performance. So speaking of performance, let's take this thing out on the road. Now this is a similar engine that Ford puts in their four-cylinder Mustang. makes 350 horsepower and 350 foot-pounds of torque. So it actually makes a little bit more power and a little bit more torque than it does in the Mustang. And I think part of the reason why is they did a little bit bigger of a turbo on this car, and they changed some things on the internals of the engine. I don't know the exact specifics, but this car is actually more powerful than the 4-cylinder Mustang, which is amazing when you think about it. This car will do 0 to 60 in 3.7 seconds, and it has 168 mile an hour top speed. That's pretty much faster than anything on the road, and you've got that in this practical 4-door hatchback application. Really cool stuff. This car pulls from any gear. Right now I'm in 2nd gear, and I'll get into it. You know, it just throws you right back in your seat. And it feels like a naturally aspirated car in that respect. It doesn't have any turbo like a lot of turbo cars have. And I mean that in a good way. It's a really fun car to zip around in. Now, one of my favorite aspects of this car are the seats. The seats are really amazing. Somehow they've accomplished a really happy medium between side bolstering and comfort. You know, I'm not a small guy at 210 pounds, but I definitely don't feel like overly snug in these seats. I feel very comfortable in them, but they definitely hold you in your place when you're going around corners, and they look as good as they feel. I mean, I think they're just a really sharp looking seat. Really great Recaros. I'd love to get a similar pair for my Corvette, to be honest with you. These are really great seats. The exhaust on this car, it sounds great. I wouldn't change anything about it. And it's kind of cool when you get into it. I don't know if you can hear that really great grunt. And when you get off of it, I don't know if you can hear that. There's like a snap, you know, a crackle and pop kind of thing that goes on when you get off on acceleration. Steering feel is amazing. This does not feel like electronically assisted steering, which it is. It feels like a hydraulic unit. And my favorite mode so far has been sport mode, and it's not twitchy, but at the same time it's very responsive, and you get a ton of feel, lots of road feel. You know what's going on in the front and the rear end of this car. You know, the car really communicates to you. It feels very driver focused, which I really love about it. So let's talk about handling. This thing handles so well. I mean, I can't push this car to its limits on streets. I mean, it's just so composed, and it stays so flat around corners. And part of the reason behind that is Ford's amazing all-wheel drive system, which through some of Ford's trickery manages to send 70% of its horsepower and torque to the back wheels. So this car feels very much rear-wheel drive biased, and oh man, it sounds good too. Here's my review of this 2017 Ford Focus RS. Thanks for watching, and I want to encourage you to visit our website, www.apexautomag.com, where you can get our print and digital editions of our magazine, and subscribe. I have to encourage you guys to subscribe, because that's what supports us and keeps us going. We're a local magazine, and all the support we get, we just really appreciate it. And thanks for watching this video, and stay tuned for many more to come. Thanks, guys.